Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into artificial intelligence. For years, AI was this thing from science fiction, right? But now, it feels like it's just everywhere. So we're going to break down how we got to this point, how it all happened gradually, and then boom, all at once.
There's this great line from Ernest Hemingway, gradually, then suddenly. He wrote that way back in 1926, but honestly, it's the perfect way to describe what's happened with AI. For decades, it was just this slow, steady burn, little advancements here and there, and then, seemingly overnight, the world just felt different.
And I'm sure you've seen the signs, right? Maybe it was that crazy viral picture of the Pope wearing that giant stylish white puffer jacket. I mean, it looked totally real, but nope, 100% fake. And it fooled millions of people.
Or maybe you heard about it in the music world. Think about this. AI was used to pull John Lennon's voice, perfectly, from an old scratchy demo tape. That's how the Beatles were able to release what they're calling their final song, Now and Then, just last year.
And look, the writing has been on the wall for a little while. The art world was totally buzzing way back in 2018. Why? Because that was the price tag for the very first piece of AI-generated art ever sold at a big auction. It was a huge signal of what was about to happen.
So all of this, it brings up the big question, right? Why is this all happening now? What flipped the switch and made AI just explode into our lives? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're going to piece together today.
And the answer isn't some single magical aha moment. It's actually a lot more like a recipe. AI's big moment came when three really important ingredients finally came together and hit a tipping point all at the exact same time.
So what are these three ingredients? First, you've got smarter algorithms. Think of those as the brains. Second, you need fuel, which comes from a massive explosion in data. And finally, you need the engine, the power, from incredibly fast machines. Brains, fuel, and power. Let's break each one down.
Okay, let's start with ingredient number one, the algorithms. These are basically the brains of the whole operation. They're the instructions that tell the AI what to do.
Now, the big change here is a totally new way of thinking. See, for decades, programming was all about super rigid, if this happens, then do that, rules, written by a human. But modern AI, it's completely different. Instead of being fed the rules, it learns the rules all by itself, just by finding patterns in huge, huge amounts of data.
And this new approach is just incredibly powerful. Think about a digital doctor. A human programmer could never write a rule for what every single possible tumor looks like. It's impossible. But what you can do is show an AI millions and millions of medical scans. And from that, it learns to spot cancer with a level of experience that no single human doctor could ever get in 100 lifetimes.
Okay, so that brings us to our second ingredient. Because you can have the smartest brain on the planet, but it needs something to learn from, right? It needs fuel. And for an AI, that fuel is data. Lots and lots of data.
And boy, are we creating an unbelievable amount of it. Get this, by 2025, the world is projected to create 175 zettabytes of data every single year. Now, what's a zettabyte? It's a 1 with 21 zeros after it. I mean, it's a number so big it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around.
So let's try to put that in perspective. Imagine this, 175 zettabytes is like giving 21 brand new laptops, completely full of data, to every single man, woman, and child on Earth, and then doing it all over again the next year. That's how much data we're talking about.
And where's it all coming from? Well, everywhere. The billions of photos on our smartphones, everything we post on social media, all those little sensors in our cars, our homes, our cities. All of it has become the raw material. It's like the giant textbook that AI uses to learn about our world.
Okay, so we've got the smart algorithms, the brains. We have this universe of data, the fuel. But you still need a powerful enough engine to actually make sense of it all. And that, my friends, is our third and final ingredient, sheer computing power.
And the growth in power has been just exponential. I mean, it started with Moore's Law back in the 60s, doubling computing power every couple of years. But then a huge breakthrough came from a really unexpected place, video games. Yeah, you heard me. The graphics chips, the GPUs that were designed to make games look amazing, turned out to be perfect for AI because they can do thousands of calculations at the same time. So now we just link thousands of them together to build these monster AI supercomputers.
And the scale here is just mind-boggling. The supercomputer that trained the AI for that first massively popular chatbot. It used 10,000 of these powerful GPUs.
At the time it was built, it was one of the 5 biggest supercomputers on the entire planet. That is the kind of horsepower we're dealing with.
So, what happens when you finally put it all together? You take these super smart algorithms, you feed them an ocean of data, and you run it all on planet-sized computing power? Well, that's when you get the suddenly. That's the generative AI boom that we are all living through right now. And you see it all come together in these simple interactions that, honestly, they feel a little bit like magic. Someone just types a normal question into a chatbot, just like you'd ask another person.
And then, in just a few seconds, the AI digs through all that training data, finds the right patterns, and generates a totally fluid, human-sounding answer. That right there, that's the recipe in action. The brains, the fuel, and the power, all working in harmony to create something brand new.
But this brings us to probably the most important question for anyone who's actually using these tools today. Just because an AI sounds right, does that mean it is right?
Well, not always. And there's actually a word for when these AIs get things wrong. It's called a hallucination. It's when an AI just makes something up. It'll give you an answer that sounds super confident and authoritative, but it's just factually wrong. It's a known problem, and it's a huge reminder that we still have to use our own brains and be critical thinkers.
And that really brings us to the human side of all this. Because this tech is moving so incredibly fast, it's creating a huge skills gap. One study found that business leaders expect 40% of their employees will need to learn new skills because of AI. But as of last year, only 13% of workers had actually been offered any kind of AI training. That's a big gap.
Which kind of leaves us with this one big final thought. AI isn't the destination. It's the engine, a really, really powerful one. The algorithms, the data, the computing power, all of that got us to this moment. But where we decide to steer this thing from here, well, that's still up to us. Thanks for watching.